Impermissible viewpoint discrimination. Federal judge blocks Tennessee law that criminalizes advising minors how to obtain out-of-state abortions. A federal court on Friday barred state officials from enforcing a law that criminalizes advising minors of their right to travel to another state to obtain an abortion. In June 2024, Rachel Welty, an abortion advocate, along with a state representative who opposed the law, filed an 82-page lawsuit against several of the volunteer state elected district attorneys general over their criminal enforcement authority to enforce an affirmative statutory obligation to defend the disputed anti-abortion law. The lawsuit was premised on the claim that one section of the law, 3915-13, criminalizes pure speech about legal abortion care and helping young people access legal abortion care. Section 3915-201 prohibits speech encouraging lawful abortion that is impermissible viewpoint discrimination, which the First Amendment rarely tolerates and does not tolerate here. The language of the law at issue purports to make it a crime for someone who intentionally recruits a minor to obtain an abortion. In her opinion, Gibbons says, this recruitment provision, under various definitions of the word recruit, would proscribe the plaintiff's abortion-related advocacy and counseling. Such counseling and advocacy is protected by the First Amendment. The court found because minors are directed out of state so they can obtain court orders to bypass parental consent laws. The defendants, for their part, said any speech helping a minor obtain an abortion in state or out of state is in service of a crime. That is because abortion is generally illegal in Tennessee. The court rejected this notion at length. Because abortion is generally illegal in Tennessee, the state may constitutionally punish speech made in direct furtherance of in-state abortions, with limited exceptions. In other words, Tennessee may criminalize speech recruiting a minor to procure an abortion in Tennessee, again with limited exceptions. Speech, however, may not criminalize speech recruiting a minor to procure a legal abortion in another state. Because plaintiffs wish to speak about legal abortions and seek to help minors obtain legal abortions, out-of-state abortions, their intended speech is protected under the First Amendment. Of course, those out-of-state abortions would be illegal if they occurred in Tennessee, but they do not occur in Tennessee, and Tennessee cannot criminalize disseminating information that is legal in another state. Because plaintiffs only promote legal abortion, the speech integral to crime exception does not apply, and plaintiff's speech remains protected. Notably, the plaintiffs also challenged the law as constitutionally vague. They argued that the word recruits is susceptible to many definitions and left undefined in the statute, and therefore it was unclear what was being criminalized. In a double-edged sword of interpretation, the court rejected this claim. Though the technical win for the defendants didn't really matter, in her ruling, Gibbons determined the word recruits was sufficiently clear enough to give fair warning of the prescribed conduct, but found the prohibition of it itself as unconstitutional. Okay, so let me first by saying this, or asking this, excuse me. Okay, so the two main factors of abortion include rape and incest. So let me ask this question. How many minors are raped? Specifically, how many minor girls are raped and impregnated? On this website, and it says that 57,329 children were victims of sexual assault, 1 in 9 girls and 1 in 20 boys under the age of 18. This website, RAINN, claims that sexual assault happens every 9 minutes. You just ask about why all these minors are getting pregnant in the first place. Why are all these minors being raped? I believe it was Charlie Kirk. He was having a debate with somebody, and them, I don't know who that is, but they brought up the fact that a 10-year-old girl was raped in Ohio. And then Charlie Kirk brought up the fact that why was a 10-year-old girl raped in Ohio? Why, I mean, not like that, but why was a 10-year-old girl allowed to be raped in the first place? And the 10-year-old girl who was raped, it was Gerson Fuentes, 28, originally from Guatemala. That was in 2022. Under the Biden administration, when they were just allowing every illegal alien to come through the border. I don't know, but it's evident enough that previously, why part of the reason why minors were getting pregnant was because we were inviting people who didn't belong here to come over here in the first place. But Caroline Levitt told us, not related to John Levitz. Caroline Levitt told us that through the whole month of June, there were no border crossings. So I don't think we're going to have to be dealing with illegal aliens coming over here and raping minors for the time being. That's very sus. You're going to make a provision to do with parental consent? I'm not belittling rape victims by saying this. Charlie Kirk made this argument. Can you tell the difference between a baby that was conceived through natural sex versus a baby that was conceived through rape? Obviously, she couldn't tell the difference. She's like, what's the difference? There is no difference. You don't know how either baby is made, but the point is it's still a human life. And the fact of the matter is, I mean, I'm sorry that you got raped, but maybe, I know rape victims didn't ask to be raped, but the baby didn't ask to be born either. I mean, the baby didn't ask to be conceived, but the baby's there anyway, so we're really gonna kill a baby? I'm sorry, this is an actual scenario. So, fictionally, hypothetically speaking, an underage girl gets raped. She winds up pregnant. Hypothetically speaking, the parents are going to get involved too. And instead of having the baby be delivered and possibly making that family even closer together, you're going to advocate for minors to get abortions. Again, I'm not saying it's okay for minors to get raped, okay? 18 plus, that's fair game for me. Go the other route. I'm not advocating for you to go get minors pregnant. Not at all. What I am saying is, if a minor does get pregnant due to rape or otherwise, the rapist is going to go to jail, but there's no reason for you to kill the baby. God, it's so painful to even continue talking about. Rape is not a gift. We can all agree it shouldn't happen to anyone. Two wrongs don't make a right, though. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the court shutting down this law. I think this law would have been a great idea. Again, I can't stress enough how wrong I think rape is. But instead of encouraging minors to go to another state to have their baby killed, I understand it. Tim Pool made this argument too. What if the child is too small and physically can't give birth? Whatever. I'm sorry. We can't save the baby, okay? But if the person, fine, child. If the child / minor is big enough, big enough that we can safely remove the baby, then yeah, we can do that and she can give birth. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this federal judge's decision to block this law. So just to recap what I think. Abortion is wrong, okay? Rape is wrong, okay? We can agree both of those things are wrong, okay? Two wrongs don't make a right. So and I hate using this, but if a minor gets pregnant, the solution is not to coerce them to go to another state to get an abortion. The solution is for the child, if they're big enough, if they're capable of having that baby, to let them give birth. And if the parents want to help, it's hooray, it's one big happy family. So instead of traveling to another state to kill the baby that was induced by rape, you should give birth to it and, raise it. 8% of girls under the age of 18 experience rape. 8%. And again, I'm not downplaying that number. I want it to be 0%. But that's unfortunately not the case. That's not the world we live in. We don't live in a perfect world. But again, two wrongs don't make a right. If someone gets raped and somebody else is encouraging that person to go to another state and get an abortion and kill that baby that was there, no fault of its own, I don't know. Two wrongs don't make a right. I'm sorry. You shouldn't go and kill a baby under any circumstances. And I can't even say that as fact, because if things happen, complications happen, I don't know. And sometimes the baby gets deformed, things happen, I don't know. But if the baby is conceived like through rape and it looks to be like a healthy looking baby through the ultrasound, I don't know. Probably just give birth to it, okay? I'm sorry about any minor who has to go through rape, but killing the child is not, in most situations, killing the child is not the answer. Again, not only morally speaking, like, you gonna take away a life, also taking the fact that we're kind of declining in population, we're declining in birth rate, so there's that as well. My brother got a 40-year-old pregnant, and they have no money. Like, no money at all. I suppose that's also a deterrent of why they couldn't get an abortion. They have no money, but they didn't get an abortion. The baby's gonna come in 3 months. Think about that. And they're just two people, Veronica and Cam Dussault. If you have a minor who's pregnant, who has siblings, who has parents, I think if that minor gives birth, the baby is going to be a lot better off because of all that financial support that's going to come in. The parents, the siblings, everybody's going to help, and it's going to be a good time. Again, I'm just going to say it. Rape is wrong. You shouldn't be raping anybody, especially not minors. But again, two wrongs don't make a right. If you got raped, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for you. But again, murdering a child that was not even there because of their own doing is not the correct answer. If you don't want to take care of the child, that's fine. There's also adoption. It takes a village to raise a child, right? So basically anybody can be a parent. I said this before and I'll say it again. Two moms can be a parent. Two moms can be a couple, okay? Two dads can be a couple of parents. Anybody can be a couple of parents. All it takes is two. So again, if a minor is raped, I'm sorry that happened, blah, blah, blah. You should be able to give birth to it. And if that's too traumatizing for you, after you give birth, you can just put it up for adoption if you don't think you're equipped. But killing the baby, it should not be an option unless one of the three things happen, or one of the two things happen. The mother's life is at risk, or the baby wouldn't survive. Any other circumstance besides that, the baby should be delivered. And that's my take. By the way, Veronica Rodriguez, I want my $2,100 back for my laptop that you smashed.